let's get to segment number 2, Zach. This one's really interesting, which is essentially a look at the world of big data policing. And this story comes from the Tampa Bay Times, and in fact, in the county north of me, Pasco County. This is maybe link to this so everyone can read it. But it's the story here from Tampa Bay Times. Pasco sheriff created a futuristic program to stop crime before it happens. This is like Minority Report with pre-crime. If anyone's familiar with that movie. It says it monitors and harasses families across the county. And basically talks about Pasco Sheriff Chris Nacco, how in 2011 came up with big data policing. And essentially to try to distill this very, very long article down to something digestible, is what they do is they use all kinds of data into big data into a database to analyze people who they've come in contact with and who those people potentially come in contact with, develop a network for them to do what they would call targeted policing. But what it really is, as far as I can tell, is high-level harassment from the police on people who may have been in trouble before, and then the cops just kind of like sniff around their house, just looking for trouble. What'd you make of this story?
Yeah, it's scary. It's kind of like in I mean, this is more than just like Big Brother, you know what I mean? This is like high level like spying. I mean, it reminds me of like in like The Dark Knight when Bruce Wayne had the surveillance system to like monitor everyone in Gotham, and Morgan Freeman was like, "I'm quitting after I'm doing this for you." But it's crazy, and I mean, it's just like, are we just going to keep judging everyone, before they even commit a crime?
Yeah, exactly. And that was his bold plan, a cutting-edge intelligence program that could stop crime before it happened. Now, they don't give really the details. I think from what the Tampa Bay Times investigation could get, they don't really have all the specifics. That's probably on lockdown. It says here, first, the sheriff's office creates a list of people it considers likely to break the law based on arrest histories, unspecified intelligence, and arbitrary decisions by police analysts. Then it sends deputies to find and interrogate anyone whose name appears, often without probable cause, a search warrant, or evidence of a specific crime. They swarm homes in the middle of the night, waking families, embarrassing people in front of their neighbors. They write tickets for missing mailbox numbers and overgrown grass, saddling residents with court dates and fines. They come again, making arrests for any reason they can. Now, I'll give you a little bit of background, by the way, of this county. This is known as the county that you don't really want to spend any time with. Rather, the cops are everywhere in Pasco County. My parents live on the north side. Whenever I visit them, there's cops everywhere. You absolutely want to drive the speed limit and just keep your head down. It's like a crazy police presence in that area. And this sort of explains why. I mean, they're just freaking everywhere. Basically, if you have an arrest history in Pasco County now, according to this, they're going to be hanging around your house, coming around to your work. In one case, looking in your window, where they found a 17-year-old smoking a cigarette and arrested one guy for underage. I mean, this is like such small-time nonsense, and what I would just call complete harassment.
It would be. I think it just turns into a bigger conversation about the way we treat criminals in our society, specifically with like prisons, for example. There's a lot of people that said, they continue to be criminals because of the way they were treated in the prison system. I think that as a society, we look at people that have been arrested, and we, instead of saying, how can we help them? How can we acclimate them to society and, kind of teach them and give them the tools and resources they need to be able to live a life without having to commit crime? It's, you're an asshole, you're a criminal, serve your time, and we're going to be as awful to you as possible because that's what you deserve. You know what I mean? And now it's even going beyond prison to harassment from digital data, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean, it's...
I agree 100%. And something we talked about, I think here is the idea that, look, none of us are free from breaking the law at some level. There's all of us. If say, let's just say the FBI knocked on your door, they want to get you something, they're going to get you for anything they want. And if you got cops following you around, following your every move, showing up at harassing family members, friends, looking for anything. They will find anything. Here's one. They gave the mother of a teenage target a $2,500 fine because she had 5 chickens in her backyard. They're out there measuring how close you park to, with a tape measure, how far away you are from the curb. Really like just crazy stuff. And I don't see the point of this at all. And if you, as you said, we talk police reform. Maybe this is the kind of thing that should be reformed. Now, we want to get rid of the violent people and all that. But at this point, you're just looking for stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And now they did say there doesn't seem to be any racial bias. They're just going after everybody equally. They're just going after whoever they can get. Sort of calling it morally repugnant. It was an expert in police practices and civil rights law. He says one of the worst manifestations of the intersection of junk science and bad policing. It's an absolute absence of common sense and humanity that I've ever seen in my career. And this is just going on. I mean, it's just, I encourage really everyone to read this. Now they have like this point system or, essentially the more arrests you make for the cops. So they're just out there incentivized to just crack down and find and arrest as many people as they can for whatever reason that they can. And as you were saying, repeat offenders. Well, that's not always the case, but when a cop is following you around every day, I mean, they're going to find something. And yeah, you'll get arrested, over and over and over again, I guess, until you move out.
Yeah. I mean, like, what did Jesus say? Like, the next man without, whoever has no sin casts the next stone, right? And everyone threw down their rocks, right? Everyone's, if you've never committed a crime, then you're like right up there with Jesus. You know what I mean? So it's.
They got a 30-person intelligence-led policing section with a $2.8 million budget led by a counterterrorism expert. They comb social media. They basically so that's sort of like the big data idea. They see who's friends with who on Facebook, who works who, kind of connect all the dots and then just go around to this network and just basically follow all these people around endlessly. And I find this to be very high level bullshit.